Today's video is all about which is the best pond filter for my pond. Stay tuned for the Any Pond showcase. Do you have pond problems? Do you have a dirty pond, a green pond, a brown pond? Do you have problems with the amount of work that you have to give your pond filter? If you're sick and tired of doing pond maintenance, this is the video for you. I'm going to go into a whole combination, not all of the types of filtration. It may be that you've got a fish pool, it may be that you've got a wildlife pond, it may be that you've got an ecosystem pond like the one behind me, and then filtration comes into play. When you want to feed the fish, when you want to enjoy the lifestyle, you need a filtration system to help you enjoy it. So you might have the question, what is the best pond filtration for your pond? Well, that all depends on what type of pond that you have. Behind me, this is an ecosystem pond, so the best type of filtration is a skimmer on the side here, and then a waterfall filter at the top there. But you may not have an ecosystem pond, you may have a traditional fish pool, which is bare liner, and you've got to have some form of filtration if you want fish. So the best type of filtration for a fish pool may be a pressurized system. It may be an all-in-one filter. It may be a box filter that's sat at the back of the pond and the water comes up via a pump and then percolates through the media and back into the pond. It may also be that you've got a koi pool where you've got a bottom drain, and then you're looking at whether it's a multi-chamber filter, whether it's a drum filter, whether there's a number of different types of filtration that you've got because you want a dedicated koi pool, which is like a swimming pool with fish in. It all really depends on what type of pond that you actually have. If it's a garden pond, it might be a formal shape and you might not want to see any form of filtration. So in my mind, you should have an upflow wetland. So everything is all built within inside the waterproof bag. You don't necessarily need any UV filtration, which I class as chemical filtration because it's chemical filtration in the form of radiation. Now you do need that on a fish pool because depending on how many fish you have in there, depends on how much load is on the system. When you've got a bare liner pool, you've only got a limited amount of surface area for bacteria to live. On this particular ecosystem pond, we don't have any form of chemical filtration or radiation, so there's no UV on this one, and it's absolutely crystal clear and the fish are really happy. The reason why we don't need chemical filtration on this particular pond is because there's lots of surface area, so the whole thing is a filter system in itself. When you haven't got enough biological filtration, you must need radiation to stop your pond from going green. It's a prevention, but if you don't have the right amount of mechanical filtration, the clumped algae is just going to settle out and it's going to cause all sorts of problems. It may be that the best filter for you is a whole combination of all of these. The best filtration for me is the skimmer and the biofouls, or whether it's an intake bay and a wetland filtration system, because I love the less attention, so it's a lot less work. But it may be, like I was saying, that you want a fish pool or a koi pool and you don't mind having a filter house or a pump house where all of the filtration system is out the way, because a lot of the time the filter is ugly, where as you can see this waterfall, it's not ugly. If you didn't want a waterfall, then yes, you might need to have some form of filtration underneath decking. If you've got a small pond, it may be that you've got a small pond on a patio and an all-in-one filter might be perfect for the job. So you've got a pump, a little UV and some mechanical and biological filtration in that all-in-one pump. Now these are limited. They are a lot of work, so if you're not prepared to give the all-in-one filter a clean every 4 weeks or so, that means getting in the pond or pulling the all-in-one filter out and giving it a service every 4 weeks or so. Some are actually undergunned, so when I go out and do service calls, it may be that they've got a green pond and there's lots of sludge in there, or a brown pond, and they've got this all-in-one filtration system that's rated right up to 9,000 litres. Well, that's 9,000 litres on the box if you've got lots of plants, if you've got less fish, if the pond's in shade. So that number can actually drop dramatically. So we've talked about all-in-one pond filtration. We've talked about box filters, which is essentially a black box with filter media in, and the water just gravity comes out, and yes, they're a little bit hard to disguise. We've also talked about drum filters, which is on a koi pool. The biggest thing with drum filters is you need to make sure that you've got a top-up system. You must have a way of removing the waste, so it's an automatic system essentially. Yes, it is a lot of attention, so if you don't want to pay a lot of attention to a pond, get an ecosystem pond like this with a great big mechanical filter and a waterfall filter. You're not going to have a problem with mechanical waste or biological waste. Another question that I get asked is, do I need a pond filter? Well, the answer is it all depends on what you want. If you want a few goldfish that you're not going to feed and you're quite happy to have a lot of plants, then you don't need filtration. But there's a lot of buts in that. If you want to feed the fish, if you want to reduce the actual amount of maintenance that you do, as in removing the mechanical waste, you 100% need some filtration on your pond. Now, share what type of filtration that you have on your pond, and then we can have a conversation whether it's too much work, whether it's really good for your situation, whether it's a case of you've got a koi pool, a fish pool, a lily pool. If you want any more information about ecosystem ponds, have a look at my video coming up at the end of this video. It's a tried and tested, proven system for a garden pond, and I'll go into much more detail on the actual sort of like the ecosystem pond range. But this video is all about which is the best pond filtration. Hopefully you've learnt something. Put it in the comment section below. I'm more than happy to help you down there. So my name is Mark, the Pond Advisor, and I'm here to support you. Dream, plan and enjoy ponds and water features, and until next time, see you in the next video.